Okay, I think we're live. What do you think?
It looks like it.
Okay, let's see what this button does.
Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
The Dorkening and all affiliated shows are not intended for anyone under the age of 18. The following may contain discussions or scenes that have adult situations, graphic violence, nudity, strong sexual content, and graphic language. This show is intended for mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello, 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 my lovelies, and welcome back to another episode of Corpse Garden Reads with my bestie Serena. How you doing?
I'm fine. I always have loved the commercials on this.
Oh yeah, Raz makes us the best show intros, and then the coffee. Oh my god, you need to try the coffee, man. They have so many flavors. It's just amazing.
I'm definitely going to have to look into it because every time I see that commercial, I laugh.
Dude, cold or hot, it doesn't matter. It is great. But anyway, back to the show. And again, thank you, Raz, for all the amazingness you helped with making. You did help make the show awesomeness. And Serena, you have helped so awesome, so many times to make the show awesome as well. Last
I,
episode, I read one of your stories.
which
I
one?
hope I read The Jungle.
Oh, okay.
You haven't heard it yet? Okay. Well, I
I,
am.
I, I haven't been able to catch up on a couple of my YouTube channels lately.
Well,
So,
that's okay. I am going to take a clip from the last show, though, and use it for the upcoming anthology. Because he gave us a taste of one of his stories in that anthology that we're making with you. And what story are you putting in it?
um, it's called Changes. I honestly cannot remember what it's about now.
Oh, no.
I'd have to look. Um, then again, my brain is in another story I am writing for another anthology. Oh, okay. This one's- It's literally the mind of a serial killer. And I also have two poems.
Oh, is it the one about the truck driver?
Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh, the truck driver and who he meets. Yes, guys, you've got to see what prompts the changes and what the changes are with what the truck driver does. Because, yeah, the truck driver's a killer, and then he ends up with a partner that he never expects, man.
It
And
was a
then,
fun to write.
oh, yeah.
And I've got a sapphic romance that I'm writing for another anthology. And I'm struggling with it. That's why my mind was like, I don't remember what I wrote now. I've got that one going, and that one I've got to get done before September, which doesn't leave me much time. And then I've got one that I'm writing for Fate Core's next anthology after the Halloween one, the spring one that's going to be coming out.
Dude, I don't even know what the spring one is.
Into the Faywoods. It's fairy tale feasts. So those who are in the Discord tend to be able to find that out ahead. It's already pinned in the call section. But everybody else ain't going to see the call for that until like November.
Okay.
Because that's the blog. So
I will figure that out because I haven't got that far. Dude, I have been trying to write this particular story that I'm working on now that is turned into serials for the newsletter since we had did Dark Dreams.
that's been a little while.
Oh yeah, but now it's finally starting to come together, but in pieces. Hence why the newsletter serials.
Hey, it works.
Oh yeah.
I don't even think I have anything I've attributed to the newsletter. It's not in a while. I'll have to think on that.
You have well, you have definitely in the past. Cassie has shown some of the poetry at school. So, yeah, I hope that's okay.
Oh, that's fine, huh? A child is interested in my poetry. I'm not going to complain.
They're working on poetry now in class. It makes sense.
Yes.
But, anyways, let's get to today's stories, and then they can see my ode to Jim's Cabin in the upcoming anthology. My ode to Jim's Cabin and Raz, and hopefully they'll like it. But anyway, since we're like nearly 10 minutes in, let's go ahead and jump into the stories and talk about them and go from there. I am reading first. I am reading Maria's story, Dazed and Confused. And I'm going to do what I usually do. I'm going to put up my cemetery. That way, because I really like the stories that I find that just have a picture and you can just listen to it with no interruptions. And I'm going to go from there. Does it sound good?
Sounds great.
Okay. There we go. Confused and numb. She stood and took in the incomprehensible spectacle before her. She couldn't understand what happened to her. She watched as Michael shook her and yelled her name over and over. He quickly grabbed his phone and called 911 as he quickly bent down towards her, then starting CPR. As he mumbled lyrics to stay alive, her body moved. She felt nothing, just confused and numb. Bam, bam, bam. She heard muffled voices as he went to unlock the door and let the paramedics in. For a brief second, she was embarrassed they would see the new nighty lingerie she had got to surprise him. She was going to ask him to be hers forever tonight. She hit the floor and stopped breathing. The paramedic with half her head shades and braids clarified as she and her partners joined Marie's body. She saw how their eyes searched the whole room for something. Eyes were looking at the carpet, the bed, the doorway, and all over. She and the new small thin woman with short green and purple hair started assessing her body. Yes, she was going to bed as I finished up in the restroom, Michael explained. That spurred her mind into action to try to understand the situation. She had finished her nightly routine and was going to lay down. She'd had the ring in her bedside drawer. It had the symbol of Link Shield on a black band. Now she stood next to her body that lay at the foot of the bed. Michael was crying as they worked on her. Marie, can you hear me? She asked. Marie watched as the paramedic used her stethoscope and checked her pulse. The short-haired paramedic checked her pupils with the pen light. The ladies continued their assessment and jotted something on their gloves as they did things. Hi, I'm Daniel. Let's go in the living room. The male paramedic looked like he was a cookie cutter guy. Where did that thought come from? Are they made with cookie cutters before they come to be born? He guided Michael out of the room so his partners could find out the status of their patient. When they got to a chair in the living room, out of sight of Marie, he asked, does she have any allergies? Penicillin and hazelnuts. Michael sounded like he wasn't there anymore. They stood by her reading chair in the living room, so many books around it. Daniel wrote that on his gloves. Did she eat anything different, or was she acting funny or showing any symptoms like dizziness, trouble breathing, or pain? The cookie cutter paramedic asked, trying to ascertain the situation. She isn't breathing, Cade let them know after she attached their defibrillator. It began giving instructions. Don't touch the patient. Analyzing, the AED instructed as it assists her body. Shock advised. It started charging. Daniel heard the sound of this process and moved in front of Michael to keep him in place. But I need you to stay here with me while Cade follows the instructions. Why don't you have a seat? Daniel says as he puts his hands in front of Michael. He sat down, frozen and with tears falling down his face. Daniel sat on the ottoman in front of him. Daniel nodded and answered, no, just the usual pasta we get at the garden. And she seemed like she had a secret she was happy about. She was so happy and excited about something. Daniel jotted something on his glove. Cade pushed the button and both ladies sat back on their haunches. They looked at all the details, skin, eyes, if she was breathing, if there were any puncture wounds, anything around her. They couldn't find any clues. They could not see any reason why she wasn't breathing. It says shock delivered as it finished and advised CPR. She started CPR. The AD ticked off a rhythm she followed. Marie saw her body moved, but still felt nothing. 2 minutes later, it had her redo the routine. The bigger woman was red in the face as her adrenaline pumped through her veins. I'm calling it. I can't get anything, Cade says. She talked into the radio on her shirt and informed dispatch. The ladies started getting their equipment. Michael was staring at the floor crying. Hey, bud, I'm sorry. We can't bring her back. Cade is calling dispatch. An officer is coming to stay with you until the coroner can take her. Do you have any family to call? Daniel motioned Michael to look at him. I can call my parents, Michael said almost lethargically. Michael got his cell phone and called his parents. Within moments, she saw a flurry of new people, his mom, the police, people in some special office. They took pictures and turned her body this way and that. to examine her. All she could do was watch. No one would answer when she asked, "Why? What do I do now? Why do I not know?" No one even acknowledged her presence. They asked Michael the same questions over and over, and neither she or he had the faintest clue what happened or why she wasn't in her body anymore. They seemed to be blaming for something she knew he had no power over. They loaded her body on a stretcher and took her out of the apartment. She could not leave to see what they were doing or where they took her body. Michael was told he could go. So he went back to the bathroom and got dressed. He gathered all his things and left with his mom. She stood there, dead, confused and alone, wondering what to do next. What do you think?
I love it. It has a nice twist to it.
That's good. I'm glad you love it. I'm hoping you like the second part. But that you will see later. I will send it over after I finish it.
That works.
So, you were going to read Rowan, I think you said.
From Under the Mists. It was the first story I did for Faycore. It was, well, the first attempt at being Faycore.
That is awesome. Let's do the ad break and then you tell us some more and read.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
Greetings and shabibans. We are the Retro Reductopus Cephala Podcast, a long-form bi-weekly show that celebrates all the things that made growing up awesome.
Yeah, that sounds good, but I don't know what all those words mean.
I think what Parasite Steve's trying to say is that on Retro Redoctopus, we explore a range of retro goodness, from toys, video games, and movies, to cartoons, and even snacks and school lunches.
Oh.
And we do it all with a positive spin, a slew of killer guests, and some very adult language.
And you know what else is cool?
No.
This crazy show is part of the Door King Podcast Network with new episodes every Tentacle Tuesday.
What's that?
And if waiting 2 weeks for a new episode gives you a sad, know that we drop bonus episodes all the time, like the off-format Crow's Nest and an interview series we call The Brig.
You can listen to Retro Redoctopus on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or any app that's cool enough to carry the only show that celebrates all the things that make growing up awesome.
Hi. So, this was your first attempt at being fake horror?
Well, it was 6 of us together, and we all decided to make an anthology out of it. This is the story that started it all. It started with a prompt. The prompt was the old tree is moving, which is what I used for the opening line. And I think it turned out pretty decent. So
I enjoyed it.
Do you want to make the screen the thing again, or
That is up to you. Do you want it to just be your face, or do you want a cemetery of your own?
I wouldn't mind having a cemetery. Those are fun.
Okay. There you go.
Works. The old tree is moving again. We were told by the elders it holds all of the evil of men deep inside, and it only moves when the deepest fog sets in. There's even a prophecy that claims that when the tree of Rowan passes through the gates into Eden, the end of time begins. The elders claim that Eden is the old graveyard at the end of the lane. Eden, the ancient garden of paradise, in a freaking ancient graveyard? We're the grove of fairies who watch the tree, but we don't get too close. After all, it's creepy and dangerous. It always moves as though the wind were whispering to it, and it alone. The tree is as tall as any redwood, but it never grows any leaves. It looks dead, spots barren of bark or branch. The ground around the tree in a 30-foot circle will grow nothing. What fairy in its right mind would go anywhere near it? Not I, that's for sure. Still, the elders insist that we have to keep an eye on it at all times. The prophecy is so out there. I mean, it speaks of the dead walking. Come on, zombies? Really? How does that affect us? Fairies, once dead, don't come back. Humans can't reach this place. We are hidden in a demi-dimension, a pocket, if you will. Though my people can pass easily into the prime, most of the fairy groves are hidden. Though it seems like most of the older fairies believe in it. The prophecy really sounds like something straight out of human nightmares. We fairies don't believe in nightmares, though it seems like most of the older fairies believe in prophecy. Some of the eldest fae who say that they have had to fight the tree back, away from the gates. Their stories are just too fantastic to be true. I mean, sure. They are fun to listen to at the nightly fire, but that doesn't make them true. Rowan doesn't like the light. Who ever heard of a tree that didn't like light? My sister and I inherited positions as light keepers. This is not unheard of, as it is passed down our family for over 100 generations. We were supposed to make sure that there is always light shining on Rowan. Our mother and aunt were the light keepers before us. One day, in our 3rd year, they went to check on the tree and never returned. The elders claimed that the fog and their fears took them. Only Lady Bay can keep the light, though I never understood why. I'm not even sure I understand that the term lady fits me. I have never been comfortable with the labels that people have tried to place on me. My twin sister was so easily frightened. She would often cling to me as we went to check on the old tree. The elders would ask us to check it at least once a week, though they really wanted us to do it more often, unless the fog came. Then we needed to check several times that night. Some of the foggy nights we camped out by the tree. Most of the time I didn't really mind the job. Yeah, the tree was creepy. But to believe it was made of the evil of men? Psh, I got so much better things to think about. I thought that I was fearless. To hear the elders talk, I shirked my duties all of the time. Mistress Kolani, the shaman, often said, Shara, you and Kylia need to take Rowan seriously. There are things at stake beyond your understanding. Please start paying more attention. It isn't that we didn't pay attention, more that it all seemed too made up. How much we missed her. She was one of the first to disappear on the first night of the fog. The next night changed my mind and my life. We went to check, as we had nightly for the last week. The fog hung thickly in the village. Rowan stood at the gate. The whole fact, 3 whole feet from where it was before. We hurried back into the village to sound the alarm. Kylia looked so pale, eyes wild as we flew. I was not sure if the old graveyard was Eden. To be honest, I didn't care. I was not taking the chance. Trees were not supposed to move their roots. This one moved 3 feet further down the lane. The truth was setting in. The remaining elders laughed at our urgency. I don't understand why they suddenly didn't seem to care. The fairies are supposed to just watch Rowan. We're not supposed to stop it. Not until it crossed through the gate. They say that I am a traitor for calling the village to fight. Maybe I am. I spoke the truth that they were unwilling to hear. I did what I had to do. It moved again. It was my responsibility to stop it. Rowan is supposed to end the world, and I am not willing to allow that to happen. So I will be a traitor. I refuse to watch as Rowan enters the gate. I preceded it to gather those who were willing to help me defeat the tree. It took me half the week to get them gathered, far longer than I wanted it to. The elders did nothing to stop or assist me in my actions. This sudden apathy was confusing. I was not sure how to deal with it. There had been so many fairies disappearing from the village on a daily basis lately. The last week has seen half of the fairies of our village missing. Whispers of them running into the human world, though I think it was to keep the calm more than it being true. Only half the elders were still in the village, and a good many of the remaining fairies were too scared to leave their homes. Chaos had set in quickly. The last 2 days before Rowan moved, the fog was too thick to even see a foot in front of your face. I cannot say that I would blame the fairies that did run. At least I hoped that they ran. I didn't know for sure either way. If they had not run, I was left to wonder what had happened to them. One of the fighters whispered tales of the seduction of evil, how the weak-hearted would gladly accept the gifts offered. Rowan was my responsibility. The fairies were not. I felt the weight of that responsibility, gathering up fighters, checking on Rowan nightly. I was trying not to hear the tales whispered by the ones who had fought last time. I added extra light, for I didn't want to be lax in the duty I was given. Seeing the tree move scared me. The light for me was a shield, though in truth, by this point, it was no more than just a finger and a bursting dike. The day before the battle, Kylia disappeared. I felt frustration and fear that her loss brought. I tried not to think about what it meant. She was always afraid, after all. She ran. She had to have. The alternative was just too hard for me to accept. For the fight, I put her out of my mind. Each day more were gone. By the time we were ready to fight, the fighters were all that remained in the village. 10 total fairies to face the danger ahead. Not a fairy one brought up the fact that was carved deeply on every face there. We were the warriors for the light. We would fight Rowan back from the gates this very night. The non-fighters were all gone. We arrived. We were armed not with swords, whips, or mace. Instead, we carried torches and magical light. One of the strongest of us carried a flaming axe. Oh, sorry, I've got something in my throat. Let's see. I don't know if Rowan could be cut down, or what the consequences would be if we even managed such. How do you kill the evil that resides within the hearts of men? Our fight would be the light, the goodness versus the darkness of evil. But would it be enough? The half-rotten branches swung wildly at the light. Though there was no breeze to cause the movement, it had to be the tree. The tree seemed nearly dead, rotting away, half-eaten, though no insect nor animal would go near it. Though it swung wildly, its branches managed to catch a fairy. It flung her and her light towards the setting sun. That tree was so damned accurate. How was it able to tell where we were was beyond my comprehension. I mean, how can a tree see? We couldn't fight until nearly dusk. The rules of the encounter forbade approaching any earlier. I argued that the rules bound us and gave Rowan the upper hand. The older fighters refused to hear, saying only by following the rules would the light triumph. I was overruled, and so it was nearly dusk as we flew to the fight. The prophecy said that when the light bringers with the purest of hearts fought against the tree of dark, the soul stolen would be returned, and the darkness would be temporarily knocked back to the start. How could we know if our hearts were pure? Was I going to be the one reason why we lost? I'm not anywhere near pure. I'm the village screw-up. Duty is the end, what matters, right? So I swallowed my doubt, and I cast another light spell into the ever-growing darkness. I prayed internally that my choices wouldn't damn everyone. The fairy with the flaming axe swung at the base of the tree. He missed, something that he had never done up till then. The axe passed through Rowan as though it was not even there. The tree dropped off 2 branches and 3 others blackened. Not from the axe, I think it was from my light. Realization is painful sometimes. This fight was not for all of my fairies. It was for me and Rowan and us alone. Fear crawled through my belly, tearing up my guts with an almost callous indifference. Swallowing it, I yelled for the rest of my fairies to form a light circle around us. I brought myself up even with the tree and prepared all of my light to shine through that darkness. I wanted to bring it all to an end. The spell went off with a blinding flash, knocking me back. I landed out of the circle, taking my axe fay backwards with me. By the time I awoke, I was alone. Rowan was restored to its original place. I reinforced light around the tree, made my way home. The village was completely back to its old self. I cried when I saw Mistress Kalani. I flew over and hugged her like I had been away from her for years. She smiled and faintly and asked, "What is wrong, child? And where is your twin?" I think that is when I broke. She listened quietly as I told her my tale, her eyes calm even as my tears started to flow. That was when I realized that there was more than I was seeing in my own story. As the tale drew close, she sighed. Her response nearly left me undone. "I saw you yesterday. You and your sister left last night to check Rowan. Apparently, your twin sister was ill-suited to watch the evil tree. You have proven yourself. Come and break your fast, child. We will mourn her together." So, all of it was in my head. Somehow I was not surprised. The tree would eventually end the world. Right there, I swore it would not be on my watch. I felt that I owed Kylia at least that much. The end.
I love that story.
I think I did good with it, so.
Oh, yeah. That was definitely. I think I definitely like it better when you read it because I've read it 2 or 3 times, and I think I enjoyed it more this time, hearing it read to me.
That doesn't surprise me. I need to figure out what I'm going to do about eventually getting audio done up. The problem is the person that I've been counting on to do that has been having a rough time. So I don't know what I'm going to do on that.
I don't either. Not at this point.
But that's okay.
The best I can do is this, but the more I practice, the better narrator I get to be from practice.
Well, I've got the entire setup, but the problem is the walls are so thin in this house, and my neighbors are jerks.
Oh, yeah.
So I end up with a lot of noise in the background.
Yeah, on my end, I have a few things that can help me remove the noise. But then again, I've also come across the part where we read the story And we are so far away, and we speak so much slower than a lot of people up north that it's like, why do you sound like Forrest Gump? And I'm like, I'm from Alabama. What do you expect?
Depending on who you ask, I either have a hick accent or I have a hillbilly accent. I spent the time that I was learning to speak in West Virginia, but I spent my formative years after that all over Virginia and Maryland. So my accent tends to be very Appalachian.
Dude, yes, but I'm from lower Appalachian, the lower
Yes.
Appalachian area, and we sound differently.
Yes. My aunts spend a lot of their time up in Michigan. So I go up and I'm talking to them, and their accent sounds so strange to me because mine is so much slower, like you said, and it's fun. I love new accents. I just wish I could do them better. I wish I could do the voices. That'd be fun.
Oh, I've given up on being able to do that. But okay, let's go ahead and end the show here and keep talking afterwards. Where do you want people to find you, Serena?
Well, I'm just about everywhere as either Serenity Fall or Esmoth's Grave. The best way is check Paycor, because usually they're posting my stuff.
And I love her stuff. I just made so many new graphics. I hope you guys like them.
Her graphics are awesome.
Okay. Thank you so much. And I'm here at Owlite, at Faycor, at Friday with the Library in the Blue Box. I'm pretending to be like 9 other authors and artists on social media. You can find me in so many different places. But anyways, thank you all for being here. I hope you guys enjoyed the stories. And I hope to see you next time. Have a good night.